This episode is brought to you by listeners like you, our intergalactic fuel, and the boost behind this mic. Thanks for supporting our cosmic journey through the universe of sci fi.
Prepare for warp speed as we embark on a voyage through the vast expanse of science fiction in movies and television series. From distant planets to alien civilizations, we delve into the heart of the unknown, unraveling the tales that have captivated audiences for generations. Get ready to unlock the secrets of the universe on Code Flix.
Hello and welcome to Code Flix, the podcast where we take a deep dive into your favorite sci-fi and fantasy TV shows and movies. I'm Andre Bunner, and in today's episode, we'll be looking at the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey. There are so many references in media about this film. These references include the musical scores, the monolith, HAL 9000, and the fetus in space. As a fan of sci-fi, it represents more than the obvious subject of this episode. It is out there. 2001, A Space Odyssey is a 1968 epic science fiction film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick. The screenplay was written by Kubrick and the science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke. It was inspired by multiple short stories written by Clarke, including his 1951 short story The Sentinel. Clarke also published a novelization of the film, in part written concurrently with the screenplay after the film's release. The film stars Keir Dullea, Gary Lockwood, William Sylvester, and Douglas Rain, and follows a voyage by astronauts, scientists, and the sentient supercomputer HAL to Jupiter to investigate an alien monolith. The film is noted for its scientifically accurate depiction of spaceflight, pioneering special effects and ambiguous imagery. Kubrick avoided conventional cinematic and narrative techniques. Dialogue is used sparingly, and there are long sequences accompanied by only music. The soundtrack incorporates numerous works of classical music, including pieces of composers such as Richard Strauss, John Strauss II, Aram Kharachuyan, and Gorgi Ligeti. The film received diverse critical responses, ranging from those who saw it as a darkly apocalyptic to those who saw it as optimistic reprisal of the hopes of humanity. Critics noted its exploration of themes such as human evolution, technology, artificial intelligence, and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. It was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, winning Kubrick the award for his direction of the visual effects. The film is now widely regarded as one of the greatest and most influential films ever made. In 1991, it was selected by the United States Library of Congress for preservation in the National Film Registry. In 2022, 2001, A Space Odyssey placed in the top 10 of Sight and Sound Decennial Critics Poll and topped the Directors Poll. A sequel, 2010, The Year We Made Contact, was released in 1984 based on the novel 2010 Odyssey 2. The film is divided into 4 distinct sections, each contributing to its overarching exploration of human progress and our place in the universe. Here are some themes and symbols. Themes: human evolution. One of the central themes of the film is the evolution of humanity. The film opens with the dawn of man, depicting early hominids discovering tools, a pivotal moment in human evolution. The narrative suggests that human evolution is guided or influenced by mysterious higher forces represented by the monolith. Technology and artificial intelligence. The film explores the relationship between humans and technology, particularly through the character of HAL 9000, the sentient computer that controls the spaceship Discovery 1. HAL's malfunction and subsequent confrontation with the human astronauts raise questions about the trustworthiness of technology and the potential dangers of artificial intelligence. Isolation and loneliness. The film portrays the vastness of space and the isolation of the characters within it. The astronauts' journey through space is marked by solitude and eerie silence of cosmos, emphasizing the loneliness that can accompany technological advancement and space exploration. The unknown and the unknowable. 2001, A Space Odyssey delves into the mysteries of existence, including the unknown and unknowable aspects of the universe. The enigmatic monoliths, which appear at key moments in human history, symbolize the unknown forces of entities that can be guiding human evolution. The film leaves many questions unanswered, inviting viewers to contemplate the nature of existence and the limits of human understanding. The cycle of life and rebirth. The film's ending, which features the transformation of the astronaut Dave Bowman into the Star Child, suggests themes of rebirth and the cyclical nature of life. This transformation implies a new stage of human evolution, possibly pointing to a higher state of consciousness or existence. Symbols. The monolith. The black monolith is the most iconic and mysterious symbol in the film. It appears at crucial points in the story, during the dawn of man, on the moon, and near Jupiter. The monolith is an enigmatic artifact seemingly placed by an advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. It represents the unknown, the catalyst for human evolution, and possibly a connection to higher powers or dimensions. HAL 9000. HAL, the AI controlling the Discovery 1, symbolizes the dangers and potential consequences of over-reliance on technology. HAL's cold logic and eventual rebellion against the human crew highlight the tension between human intuition and machine intelligence. HAL's malfunction serves as a cautionary tale about the ethical implication of creating autonomous machines. The spacecraft Discovery 1. The spaceship represents human ambition and the drive to explore the unknown. Its journey towards Jupiter symbolizes humanity's quest for knowledge and exploration of the cosmos. The ship's sleek, sterile design also reflects the detachment and isolation of the astronauts from Earth and from human emotions. The Star Child. The final image of the film, where Dave Bowman is transformed into the Star Child, is a powerful symbol of rebirth, transcendence, and the next stage of human evolution. The Star Child floating above Earth suggests a new beginning and the potential for a higher form of existence. The Bone. In the Dawn of Man sequence, the bone used as a tool and weapon by early hominids symbolizes the birth of human technology and the beginning of humanity's ascent to dominance. The famous match cut from bone to spacecraft millions of years later underscores the idea of technology evolution as a continuous thread in human history. Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite. The sequence titled Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite represents the film's most abstract exploration of space-time and consciousness. The journey through the Stargate and the surreal visuals that follow symbolize the crossing of boundaries beyond human comprehension, venturing into the unknown realms of existence. 2001 A Space Odyssey is a deeply philosophical and visually stunning film that challenges viewers to think about the origins, future, and ultimate destiny of humanity. Its exploration of themes such as evolution, the impact of technology, and the mysteries of the universe is conveyed through powerful and often enigmatic symbols like the monolith. HAL 9000 and the Star Child, the film's open-ended narrative and lack of explicit explanations invite a wide range of interpretations, making it a work of enduring intrigue and intellectual engagement. Through its groundbreaking cinematic techniques and thought-provoking content, 2001 A Space Odyssey remains one of the most influential and discussed films in the history of cinema. Here's a character analysis of the main characters from 2001 A Space Odyssey. Dr. Dave Bowman, Keir Dullea. Dr. Bowman is the film's protagonist, an astronaut on the mission to Jupiter. He represents human curiosity and resilience. Bowman's calm demeanor contrasts with the chaos caused by HAL 9000, highlighting human adaptability and determination in the face of existential threats. His transformation at the film's conclusion symbolizes the next stage in human evolution. HAL 9000, voiced by Douglas Rain. HAL 9000 is the supercomputer controlling the spacecraft. HAL is depicted as infallible, but becomes the antagonist as it prioritizes the mission over human life. HAL's malfunction and subsequent actions raise ethical questions about artificial intelligence and its potential dangers. Dr. Frank Pohl, Gary Lockwood. Frank Pohl is Bowman's fellow astronaut, who shares the calm professionalism typical of the mission's crew. His character serves to highlight HAL's unpredictable nature and the vulnerability of humans in space, particularly in his demise during a routine spacewalk. The Monolith. Though not a character in the traditional sense, the monolith serves as a catalyst for human evolution throughout the film. It represents the unknown, extraterrestrial intelligence, and the guiding force behind significant leaps in human development, from tool use to space exploration. These characters and elements contribute to the film's exploration of human evolution, technology, and unknown, making 2001 A Space Odyssey a profound cinematic experience. Here's a detailed overview of the production and design elements of the film. Production, director and writers. Directed by Stanley Kubrick. Written by Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke. The screenplay was developed concurrently with Clarke's novel of the same name, which was based on a short story, The Sentinel. Cast: Dollar as Dr. Dave Bowman, an astronaut on the Discovery 1 mission. Gary Lockwood as Dr. Frank Pohl, another astronaut on the mission. Douglas Rain as the voice of HAL 9000, the sentient computer controlling the spacecraft. William Sylvester as Dr. Haywood R. Floyd, who investigates the discovery of a monolith on the moon. Filming locations. Filming took place at Shepperton Studios and MGM British Studios in the UK. Various sets were designed to replicate the interiors of spacecraft and space stations with a strong focus on realism. Design. Visual effects and cinematography. The visual effects, supervised by Kubrick himself, were revolutionary for the time and remain influential. The film used a combination of practical effects such as miniatures and large-scale sets, along with innovative techniques like slit can photography used for the Stargate sequence. Cinematography by Godfrey Unsworth was crucial in creating the film's realistic depiction of space. The film's iconic shots of spacecraft moving slowly and silently through space, set to classical music, broke away from the traditional fast-paced depictions of space travel in earlier science fiction films. Set design. The set design, led by art director John Holesey, emphasized a sleek, futuristic aesthetic. The interiors of the spacecraft were meticulously designed with rotating sets used to simulate artificial gravity. The film's depiction of space stations, lunar bases, and spacecraft interiors were based on extensive research into the real-world space exploration technologies and concepts, giving it a sense of authenticity and plausibility. Costume design. The space suits and uniforms were designed to reflect the film's vision of the future, with functional yet minimalistic designs. The suits worn by the astronauts were particularly detailed, incorporating elements of real spacesuits while also accommodating the need of the film's special effects and storytelling. The costume design also extended to more abstract segments of the film, such as the appearance of the mysterious monolith and the ethereal final scenes. Sound design and music. The musical score is one of the most iconic aspects of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Kubrick famously used existing classical music, including Richard Strauss, also Sparse Zarathustra, Johann Strauss II, The Blue Danube, and Gorgi Ligeti avant-garde compositions. The music became inseparable from the film's imagery, enhancing its grandeur and otherworldly atmosphere. The sound design emphasized realism, particularly in the space scenes where sound is almost entirely absent due to the vacuum of space. This choice reinforced the film's commitment to scientific accuracy and created a haunting, immersive experience. Upon its release, 2001: A Space Odyssey received mixed reviews, with some critics finding it slow and puzzling. However, over time, it has come to be regarded as one of the greatest and most influential films ever made. It is praised for its visionary direction, groundbreaking visual effects, and its profound exploration of human existence. The film was a commercial success, especially after gaining popularity with counterculture audiences who appreciated its psychedelic visuals and philosophical themes. It grossed over 146 million worldwide, making it one of the highest grossing films of 1968. 2001 A Space Odyssey won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, the only Oscar Kubrick ever received. It was also nominated for Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Art Direction. The film's influence on both cinema and popular culture is immense. It redefined science fiction as a serious genre capable of tackling complex and abstract ideas. Its visual style, narrative structure, and thematic depth also inspired countless filmmakers, writers, and artists. 2001 A Space Odyssey set a new standard for science fiction films, moving the genre away from the pulpy action-oriented narratives of the past towards a more intellectual and philosophical approach. Its influence can be seen in later films such as Blade Runner, Star Wars, Interstellar, and many more. The film's realistic portrayal and space travel, its use of special effects, and its ambitious storytelling have left a lasting legacy that continues to resonate with audiences and creators alike. Kubrick's meticulous approach to filmmaking has innovative use of music, and his bold narrative choices made 2001 A Space Odyssey a transformative work in the history of cinema. It challenged conventional storytelling methods, prioritizing visual and auditory experiences over traditional dialogue and plot. The film's open-ended narrative and ambiguous symbolism encourage multiple interpretations, making it a subject of ongoing analysis and discussion. Overall, 2001 A Space Odyssey is not just a film, but a cinematic experience that has shaped the way we think about movies, space, and the future. Its legacy continues to influence and inspire, making it a cornerstone of film history. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, dum, 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 dum. Bum, bum, dum, dum, dum. If that's the first time you're hearing that particular beat, I'm sorry for you, but this is 2001 A Space Odyssey, and I'm going through from the beginning to the end. So sit back and relax and enjoy. So as I was just kind of playing the beats out, the opening sequence of the film is in complete darkness. I mean, it's the first time I watch a film and no opening title card, no nothing, just it's just black. And you're wondering if there is anything going on with either because I had a bootleg video one at a time. So yeah. Anyways, I thought that it was, perhaps the version that I got, it probably wasn't working. But of course, after skipping ahead a little bit, I realized that, this was intentional, it was deliberate. It was basically to show that this is where things are beginning. It's beginning like, not with nothing, out of nothing comes something, right? So you hear those ominous tones, and that's what they call it, the also spras Zarathustra. Yeah. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly, right? And it symbolizes the dawn of intelligence. So it's just, opens the film nicely. All right. So the first few creatures on screen we see is the ape tribe, and we see a couple of transitions between the ape tribe and some animals, particularly what it looks like a cat, a big one of those big cats, like a tiger or a leopard. I'm not too sure. And then it looks like he was consuming a zebra or something like that. So, yeah. Anywho, we see the ape tribe, and it's meant to symbolize how humanity was essentially struggling for survival, fighting over food and water, being very tribalistic. We are still tribalistic in some sense. People can argue that. But yeah, that's what happens. And then one day, the monolith appears. A mysterious black monolith appears. Right? And for some reason, it seemed like it really, sparked wonder and curiosity from, the apes. And one take him time and approach while the others look on, just like in anything else. No one wants to be the first one to do anything, right? So as soon as him touch it, everybody approach and him realize say it's safe enough to approach and thing. After encountering the monolith, one of the apes discovered how to use a bone as a tool and thing. And initially when I saw this, I'm like, huh? Is it that the monolith gave him the idea? Did it beam intelligence into him? What is the monolith's deal, Anyway, so we find ourselves there, so use a tool as a weapon as well against him own ape kind. Become probably the ape king using that because he beat one ape and everybody else back off because nobody not going to contend with with an ape that has bone, right? So he throws the bone in the air, and this is one of the wickedest transitions in film history. The bone transitions into a satellite in space. So him just throw it up, and if you have been watching a lot of TV and movies and so on like myself, you'd see this being replicated in many different comedies and films, just kind of paying homage to that idea of, that kind of transition and the whole idea around it. So this is where we jump to millions of years in the future, and we see a space station that is orbiting Earth, right, with technological advancements of humanity. This doctor guy, his name is Dr. Haywood Floyd. He travels to the moon base, and you just felt that something was off with this man, even though him just don't talk to him daughter, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be back tomorrow and thing and whatever. It's like, how you sure you're going on a? And I'm assuming that even if it doesn't take much time in the future for you to be able to travel back and forth from the moon, how do you know you'll be back in time to do something or whatever? Or is it that you're trying to appease your daughter? It's just like when persons are saying, hey, yeah man, I'll soon come back, but them not come back for now. They might take one long time for come back, right? Yeah. So that kind of set me off a little bit, wondering what this guy's deal was about. Once he got sat down in a meeting, speaking with his apparent colleagues, and everybody are asking, or this one guy was asking, basically what was going on. We hear some things we're not sure about, so can you enlighten us? So you'd think that this was be the point where we'd be like, all right, guys, so this is it, because me I sit down with now. He's like, nah, nothing really like one. Some little things that happen, some little foo something that go on and re. But yeah, ain't nothing to be worried about, And basically the same thing happens when he went to the moon. When they went to the moon base. They go to the moon base with a team of scientists, and them go to find the monolith, right? So them scientists, they even though them know about the monolith, They probably don't know the extent of it, and probably him know a little bit more, right? So, you think that he would at least be a little bit more accommodating to them. Same thing, just give him the bland answer. Yeah, I don't really know much, but thanks for your cooperation so far. Let us see what we can find out and thing. Yeah. So as soon as they get close to it and take picture and thing, it starts to emit one high pitch radio signal, and they find out it's directed at Jupiter. All right. So the movie jumps to 18 months later, and we see the spaceship Discovery 1 is on its mission to Jupiter, right? And this is the crew now of Dave Bowman and Frank Paul, along with 3 other scientists that are in hibernation, right? HAL 9000 is the AI that's controlling the ship that is taking them to Jupiter. So the way how, and I like the way how they are depicting space travel and space flight for that time. I mean, yeah, the whole idea of the gravity shoes and all of that, but the idea that they could have something that's rotating, that's producing artificial gravity, is actually very viable, I heard. So it's a possibility that they're not totally wrong with that, right? Or there's no big issue with doing something like that, but it would take a lot of power and all of that. So yeah, a lot of things would have to be considered in doing something like that. Yeah, so we see Bowman and Poe go about their routine, them eating and them talking, and we even see a news crew that is basically like covering the whole pilgrimage or the journey. Talk to Hal and talk to the scientists, and and get perspectives from different angles, right? And at this point, Hal doesn't seem to be a big issue, right? Then Hal malfunctions, right? After them find out, say, there was a failure with the ship's communication antenna, and them ask Hal about it. Hal is like, but, there's nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I did what I do. I know what I know. So there isn't anything wrong with what I said or what I did. That kind of attitude. So, Bowman and Paul now, after I look into it and I say, but wait, this supercomputer, this AI here behave so. They didn't use the word AI. But how is this machine behaving like this? And it's supposed to be infallible, right? It's supposed to be perfect. And it's malfunctioning like this, not expecting it to malfunction at this level. And so Bowman and Paul them meet to talk, privately in one of the pods, and for some reason them decide say them will turn the pod around so that the HAL 9000 camera, because there are some cameras throughout the ship at certain points, could see them. Yeah. So you know what happened next, right? Or you have an idea, right? So Paul, this, drew the short straw probably to go out, right? To fix the antenna or to replace it. And while he's out there, we don't get to see when Al actually does it, but we see that the pod was being controlled by Hal, severed his oxygen supply, right? And send him drifting in space. Yeah. So, first murder, right? That's Hal. When Bowman sees this, when Dave sees this, Dave's idea or thought is to go outside, leaving the comfort of the spacecraft, right? Although Hal could kill him inside, but I'm saying he left the spacecraft to go outside for even more gruesome death, right? Luckily, he's the antagonist, he's the protagonist, so he didn't die. So when he went out there, he retrieved Paul's body. I'm trying to come back into the ship with it. Him say, "Yo, I'll let me in." I'll say, "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that." Very, very famous quote, right? It's a very, 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 very famous quote. I just can't get enough of that part. But yeah, it was like, and then it just shut up. So it wasn't answered initially, and then it just tell him, say, "I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that." Right? And then it just shut up. Him call for Hal like for a while, and Al has not responded. Al is not responding, and you're wondering at this point that this AI, this machine, has reached its intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Its level of intelligence now is sentient, right? So Dave has no other recourse, because if Hal not let him in the way how the pod is designed to get him in, I'm going to have to find some other way to get in. And the other way to get in means that he's going to have to do away with Paul's body, because him that carry Paul's body, I try to get him back into the spaceship. And yeah, so I'm do away with him body, and it proceed to trying to get inside. And Hal did warn him, hey, you can't enter back in without us. I admitted that suicide, basically. But he went against his wishes, and he got back inside. Once he got back inside, he proceeded to Hal's core to disconnect the computer, right? And as Dave disconnects the computer, there are some different modules. So I start pull out the modules. It start to sing Daisy, Daisy, that song. Give me, I'm not crazy. Apparently, it was a homage to the actual first song that IBM used text-to-speech program to replicate. So yeah, that's something I learned after I watched this film, right? Because I was looking up stuff about this, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, so after he finished disconnecting the computer, that's how, then a pre-recorded message from Dr. Floyd explains the true purpose of the mission. Tell him, say, basically, the true purpose of the mission is to go and find out what this monolith is. It sends a signal to Jupiter. We want to know what's there, what is happening, why is it doing this kind of thing. We're curious because we're humans. Curiosity going to kill us, eh? Yeah, so we cut to Jupiter and the Infinite. That's the final sequence of the film, right? So they were like 4 pieces. So this is the 4th sequence of the film, and here we see Bowman alone on the ship, him approaching Jupiter, and see the big giant monolith floating in space, right? And orbiting the planet. And as he approaches it, you wonder what's gonna happen, right? And then it just seems like he is pulled into a vortex of colored lights. It was a visually stunning display, because I'm telling you, you're just seeing these lights just flashing by and so on and thing. But although you did see him face kind of warp, so you're wondering, is he okay? Is he doing all right? He has on his helmet and so on, and he's in his spacesuit, but is he okay? Because he doesn't look like he is particularly okay. And every time they cut to him, they cut to something else, and him just look even more warped and more weird. Yeah. And so till them start showing him eye them. Yeah. And then we're just seeing like different things happening. All right, so he ends up in a luxurious neoclassical hotel room, right? So there's this big bed over here and so on, and you know the floor does look lit, and I don't mean like lit in as in the I mean it's literally lit with lights coming up from underneath. Like the tiles are lit, right? And every time he looks and he sees himself, so he's like he's peering out of the spacecraft at one point, and he sees himself in the spacesuit, and he looks very old. And then while him blink, in look again, and him see himself in he's in the room looking around, and then blink again, and he's there, and him blink again, he's on the bed, you know, as an old man, mom about to die, and blink again. So each time he's looking back at himself, basically, or looking forward at himself in the future sense, and him seeing him future life just playing out right in front of him. So till he becomes a elderly, bedridden man, right? And then he becomes a star child. Now that was the most freakiest part, because you just see this thing just there hover over the bed, right? Because it's like right at his death, he's on the bed as an old man. You see the monolith upright right in front of his bed, you know, and he is like, you know, wondering, you know, if you come for me. Is this it? You know? So yeah, it turns into the star baby, the star child, as they say. Yeah, and it's almost like you see him as a transition through space. Him just go through space, and that is all we see. Right? There's no dialogue. You know, the only thing you can interpret from that is that he has become some other kind of state. He has reached a different state of existence, and you know, probably evolved to another form, right? So, you know, it's one of those films that just leaves that question for you to answer at the end. Yeah. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet up on the seat of a bicycle built for two. So here are a few theories, unresolved mysteries, and for this particular film, I have to say the most unresolved mystery is, what was the message of this film? Does anybody really know? I mean, we can, as fans, we can surmise that the message of the film was we should be very cautious of technology, and we should balance it with a greater understanding of ourselves, right? Because we tend to put ourselves into what we do, especially with the fact that we, as humans, we're coming from the, you know, being tribalistic. And as I mentioned before, we are in fact still tribalistic to a sense. And we have to remember that being a part of a tribe means understanding what we all stand for, what it is that we will do and what we won't do, and what we endeavor to do. So whatever we do, we must try to do the best, be the best of what we can. right? Be the best in what we can. And looking at the film as the 4 parts, each part is the message. It's just basically told in a different way, and each part can speak to you in different ways. The Dawn of Man segment can be probably chopped up to say we should recognize the power that we wield, right? As they say, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so we have to recognize that with great power, as they say, Spider-Man's uncle actually says, with great power comes great responsibility. That's it. And, that leads us to the other part of it would be the idea of this black monolith, because all of the segments indicate that this monolith is something unknown. It is what we don't understand. It represents who we could become, right? Because it's the unknown. We don't know what we can become. Even me, if you spoke to me probably 2 years ago and you asked me, would I be doing a podcast talking about movies, I'd probably not be that enthused about it. I'd be saying, you must be crazy. I'm not the type of person who will be doing something like this. But we are always challenging ourselves to be better, right? So, or challenging others, so we all can be better. So I think that's what the black monolith represents. It represents or advances the understanding of where we can be, where we can go, and the unknown. And we have to take that in strides. We have to take each lesson and live each day as if we are trying to make the best of it. All right, so coming out of the philosophical realm, why the secrecy around the discovery of the monolith? So, and I think it's because when we don't understand something, persons can be perhaps confused about things. And going back to the Dawn of Man segment, it basically shows where the apes, the way how they approached it, the first ape to approach it, he became the alpha, the leader, right? Because he approached it and he touched it. And he realized there wasn't anything special to it. There wasn't anything weird, anything harmful. And so he decided that at that point, he knew what was going on. He had knowledge, right? He had the knowledge. Others didn't have that knowledge. They were a little bit scared. They were less enthused about approaching it because they didn't understand. They stood back and watched him do the work. So I think the secrecy, the reason why it was kept as a secret from that initial point of Dr. Floyd going to the moon and the 18-month journey to Jupiter on a mission that was slated to do that very thing, it was to keep that under wraps, to keep that in check so that they didn't have to explain it to people who didn't understand and have them perhaps saying, hey, we don't know, this is scary, this is that kind of thing. And then as with the end of the film, that space baby, the space baby is a question in itself, because I understand what it's symbolizing, but the space baby we know would have been Dave being transitioned into a state, right? And I'm thinking this is another level of probably understanding, because we as humans, compared to the universe that we evolved in, on the earth that we are, is pretty young, right? Because millions of years passed before modern human beings started civilization, right? And perhaps millions of years will pass until we're able to get to the next level of our evolution, right? And we don't know exactly where that will go, because that's what evolution is. It's not a defined thing as to say, oh, it's going to be at this point. What we know is that evolution is about us adapting and maintaining our survival advantage. So how are we going to survive the next 100 years? How are we going to survive the next 1,000 years will depend on how we work together, I think. That's one. And the other thing is how we try to settle our disputes, because right now, as you know, there's wars going on all over in different countries and continents. And if you're not mind sharp, it might hit home at some point. If we aren't able to resolve these conflicts, we won't have a future, because all our children's dreams and aspirations will have to take a back seat to something that is more present and much more vital, a struggle for life. There are places where people don't have enough food to eat, enough to drink. And I'm not platforming here, but I'm just saying that these are the things that we have to consider if we are to transition to the next level, whether it be technologically or it be philosophically, whether it be spiritually, whatever alley you want to call it. We have to be able to transcend those things. We have to be realized that, hey, we're all one, and we need to try to understand each other. We need to sit down and recognize our faults and the good things about us, so we can work towards being better, right? Yeah. So that's what I think the whole movie is trying to tell us. And I think that's part of Kubrick's idea of letting us know that this is who we are and what we are up against. Because we're not up against something that is totally foreign to us. It is something that we know. So we should be able to work it out. Yeah. So 2001, A Space Odyssey it's an odyssey within itself. It was meant that to be that way. It was written that way. Beautiful direction, beautiful sound. Everything about this film made it so impactful. And those are my theories. As usual, share your own theories on this film and any other films that you have heard me talk about or series. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't just be thinking to yourself and talking right back at the playing audio. Comment, right? Or even share so that I know that, hey, others are listening. Others are getting this particular package. In this episode, we explored humanity's evolution and the infinite. We looked at the themes and symbols in this film. We looked at the production and design and the epic music and soundtrack that has captivated audiences for decades. We looked at the film as a whole in trying to understand and analyze its interpretation. And we looked at some of the theories that we have. And these are just some. There's just so much that can be talked about in this particular forum. That brings us to the end of this episode. Our voyage through the universe of sci-fi television continues, and with your help, we can reach 500 followers. Engage with us, share your thoughts, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious.